Hi friends, Shannon here, creative crew member with Scrappiness, here to create a card using the fine line flowers from the newest release. Here we have 5 different sizes of the flowers, and you can either make individual flowers or layer them up to make one layered flower. What I'm going to do, or what I've done already, is I've gone ahead and I've die cut each of the flowers out of holographic cardstock and vellum. And what I've done is I've offset the vellum underneath the holographic cardstock. One thing that you have to keep in mind when you do this, though, is that the flowers are not symmetrical. There's 9 points to the flower, or petals, larger petals, I guess you could call them, to the flower. So what I do is I've got them lined up so that they're exactly lined up together, and then I'm just going to give it a turn. But first let me put some glue down onto the layer below, and I'm just going to put it in the center. And then, so here's how it would line up. I'm just going to give it a little turn so that I'm just over the larger petals will overlap the smaller petals, but since there's cutouts, you can see the smaller petals underneath. And try to get those kind of, oops, give it a little bend. There we go. And see our flower with the holographic and with the vellum. So I'm going to set these aside, and we are going to create our card base. I'm starting off with I believe this is 4 inches. Nope, this is 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And then I have a layer. Now I cut this, before I cut this, or after I cut this, I realized that this item is no longer in stock, but there are other shapes of this form of die. It's a really cute fancy scallop, what is it called? Fancy scallop nesting slimline. Now we're out of the slimline, but we do have the mini slimline, the A2, and the square, and the oval of the fancy or the stitched fancy scallop. Sorry about that. The fancy scallop stitched dies, nesting dies. Okay, so anyways, this could be done in smaller scale with the mini slimline. And then I have another piece of light aqua cardstock, and this is 1, 2 3/4 by 7 3/4. And what I'm going to do on these is I'm going to start with some of the Lisa Horton. This is some of the newest release, and we do have it in the Scrappiness store. It's Color Shift Matte and Shimmer Blending Ink. I need a dauber for this. Let me grab one for this color. And we're just going to ink blend on the outside of my card base here, or my card front. Just give it some dark color around the outside and a little bit of shimmer. Now I would try to show you the shimmer, but it's hard to see on the camera. I'm not sure if you're getting any shimmer, if you can see that at all, but you can see it in person. So it just darkens up the edge a little bit, gives me a little bit of shimmery color. Set that aside for it to dry. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but this I'm going to use different hybrid inks. So it won't take as long for it to dry, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to speed this up and let you listen to a little bit of music while I finish doing these little bit of distressing along the edges. Now I'm going to stamp a sentiment from the Funny Christmas Witches stamp set, and the sentiment reads, "Don't get your tinsel in a tangle." Now you might wonder why I'm using a Christmas sentiment on my flower card. Well, the one thing, especially with the holographic cardstock that I cut the flowers from, they really, to me, look like snowflakes. So that I'm turning this into a Christmas in July card. And now I'm stamping my stamp, or covering my stamp with some pigment ink in the color Baby Blue. And we're going to stamp this. I've already prepped my paper with the anti-static powder. Press that down, and then I'm going to give it, stick that back in the corner so that it's lined up in the same position every time. And I'm going to re-stamp it. Then we'll cover it with some sparkling embossing powder and warm it up with my heat tool. I will have to stamp it a couple of times to make sure that my sentiment is nice and juicy with enough ink to grab hold of the embossing powder. One more time and I think we'll be golden. Stick it back in the corner, my cardstock back in the corner of my stamping tool. Ink up my stamp again. Make sure my cardstock's in the corner. Scooch this over and make room for my, grab a scratch piece of cardstock, or actually a piece of scrap paper, and my embossing powder. This is sparkling embossing powder. There we go. Sprinkle that powder on there. Try to get back into the container as much as I can and give it another sprinkle just for good measure. And now I'll warm it up with my heat tool. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to clean this up and then we'll put together our card. I've gone ahead and layered up my different panels for my card base, and now we can see which ones of these flowers we're going to use. Let's see here. I think we'll put this one in the corner because it's larger. Move this one over here. And this tiny one over here. We got a little bit of a naked spot, and I brought in these sparkles, these sparkly embellishments. They're called Dolly Denim Glitter Sequin Mix, and I want to use those on the card base also, but I think what I'll do is I'll glue these down first, the flowers, and then after that I will add some embellishments. Just do a couple of dots of glue in the middle, and then where the holographic cardstock overlaps the vellum, I'll add some more glue. There. I would appreciate it if you like the content, that you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel Also, you can, there's a link in the description box below to subscribe to Kat's newsletter. She sends the newsletter either weekly or monthly. Can't remember which, but in her newsletter she is including secret coupon codes that are only for her newsletter subscribers. So if you would like to get discounts that are not available to everyone, sign up for her newsletter and you will be the first to receive, or the only to receive, some of the secret coupon codes to get your craft supplies at a discount. And I know we all can use a discount here and there. Just a couple more of these. Let me know in the comments if you think the flowers look like, if they look like snowflakes to you. Usually with vellum it takes the glue a little bit longer to set up, so I don't want to move those. Okay, and I'll use my pick and stick tool from Scrappiness. You can also find links in the description box below for all the products that I use to create this card. And it helps me out with my, you support my creativity by using the links that are in the description box. So I appreciate it to all who shop the Scrappiness website with my links. Even if you don't use my links, I do appreciate you shopping the Scrappiness shop. And there it is. There is our completed card. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.